Josh Adams.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another presentation of the National Sim Racing League Association and their ARCA series, presented by Diesel Laptops. I'm your host and producer, Morgan Cook. Alongside me tonight, Daniel Cunningham. You are watching VSPEED. If you haven't already, give us a like here on the channel. Subscribe as well, hit the notification icon to give us a moment of the racing action. Also got to give a big shout out to Dougie Beard for the cameras he provided us for this evening. Daniel, excited?
This one is definitely one that I'm excited about. I feel like this is kind of the wild card race that we have here as we get down near the end of the season here at Lucas Oil Raceway, Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park, whatever you want to call it. It's got a few different names people know it by. Track out there in Indianapolis, Indiana, the small one next to the big oval. 0.686 miles, 12 degrees of banking in the turns. It's got a little bit of progressive banking where it actually has a little bit more banking up at the top of the track. So you're going to see drivers migrate up there, really where you're going to make the speed at. Track was opened in January of 1970, so pretty old racetrack, a lot of history here as well.
Yeah, was home to a lot of the lower series in NASCAR for a long time. Cup never really raced here. ARCA series is here tonight. Here's a look at the schedule. Second to last race on the calendar. Only one remains after this, and it's Las Vegas. It's going to bring us to our point standings, and we have a heated battle for the championship. Cartledge and Montgomery, Lewis as well have a shot at it mathematically. Toby Ritter's just a little too far back to have a chance at it, unless something absolutely preposterous were to happen. But I don't expect that to happen here. So Cartledge, Montgomery, and Lewis fighting for a championship here this evening. With all that being said, it is about time to get to the grid. Starting on the pole here this evening, Philip Martin, short track ace in the 64. Toby Ritter's alongside in second. Third to Mark Cofield in the 97. Aaron Espy in the 3 will start in fourth. Row 3 belongs to Enoch Hancock in the 15, and Dustin Lewis starting 6th. 7th, Olivia Michael Cole in the 43. Zechariah Cartledge starts 8th with an EOL from a penalty from last week. 9th and 10th to be Derek Skluttle and Matthew Montgomery.
Starting just outside the top 10, you've got Brandon V's in that 11th position with Caleb Jones rolling off in 12th. Starting in 13th, it's going to be Gino Valenti and Jared Green to his outside in 14th. 15th, we've got David Moyer with MJ Palmer to his outside in that 16th position. Starting in 17th, going to be Jordan Bridges with Jameel Gills starting in 18th. Rolling off 19th is going to be that 68 of Stephen McDonald. And, you know, Morgan, I think you might be a little bit more familiar with our 20th place starter that's labeled broadcasting here this evening.
Yeah, I done goofed, and for the first time this season, I joined as a driver, not as a broadcaster. So you'll see me starting 20th, although that car will never leave the pit box here this evening. Last row on the grid, Andy Berry, I believe, race control, and Sam Bridges electing to not take a time here tonight. They'll roll off 22nd. Now that's out of the way, let's get down to it here. High above this racetrack, driver's still sitting on the pit lane, right behind the pace car and Philip Martin. Let's look at that race analysis while we have a moment. 150 laps this evening. Should go by fairly quick if we can keep it under green. Pit road speed 35 miles an hour. Little access road into turn 3. You can see it at the kind of the middle top of your screen. That is going to be difficult to get onto just the way this racetrack is shaped. 4 tire sets. I think you're going to want to use every single one of those tonight. 2 green, white checkers just in case we need them. And the most important number on the screen here, 56, sorry about 65, sorry, to 70 laps. Not quite enough to make it on one stop.
See the field starting to pace around here. Looks like they actually added 1 extra lap of pacing, so gonna have a couple of laps for the drivers to roll around here and get some heat into the tires before we get everything fired off. And you know, Morgan, you mentioned that the big story that we're gonna be kind of following and taking a look at throughout the evening is Zechariah Cartledge, one of our championship contenders and our current championship leader by 4 points over Matthew Montgomery. Had that EOL as a result of an incident from last week. He's going to be starting at the back of this pack. Definitely did have some speed, qualified up there in the 4th position. You know, passing can be a bit of a challenge at this track, so something we'll keep an eye on if he's able to make his way up through this field.
Yeah, I mean, he's a talented driver. I expect him to be able to figure this out as we go 1 extra pace lap here as well. So it's going to be difficult for sure. But you were telling me a tale just before this one went live of how you had to do something similar to this, drive through the field a few times at this facility. Things have been updated since then, but it was possible then. Why not now? And all you got to do is just be patient, work the grooves, and don't get in over your head. And you should be able to make it back up to the front, at least to the top 5-10, where he spends most of his time in the season anyway.
Yeah, he's definitely shown himself to have a lot of speed in that 61 machine. You know, obviously you don't get to lead the points without that, but as for now, the pace car is off. They're lined up 2 by 2, and we're getting ready to go green here.
Off of turn 4 for the final time before we turn them loose. And we're green in Indianapolis.
Oh, and they're already wrecking on the front straightaway. It looked like Gino Valenti was involved in that in the 35. See, David Moyer, it looks like, may have gotten a piece of that.
That's
the 6th
Jameel
of
Gills.
Gills as well. So that was literally just about as soon as the green flag came out there.
Yeah, something obviously went awry here. Let's see what it was. So Valenti looks like the farthest ahead of these guys. Oh, he missed a shift. I think he grenaded the engine on the downshift.
Yeah, that may have been a money shift there, going from 3rd to 1st. I'm wondering, with just the way that car checked up there.
Yeah, we'll hear it. Just listen close here, folks. But that was it. I don't know if he downshifted or if he just couldn't get the tires hooked up. Regardless,
Yeah,
that is not what you want to start this race.
Yeah, definitely not the start that he was looking for. And, you know, we had talked about with Zechariah Cartledge having that EOL to start the race off. That's really the big danger that you have, is if something like that happens right in front of you. A smart move, though, that I saw out of him, though, he was hanging pretty far back on that restart, just giving some room to the drivers in front of him. He was, you know, looked like he was content to let things kind of shake out a little bit there. And it definitely paid dividends for him. He had plenty of room to get checked up and miss that incident.
And that's what you have to do when you get dealt a less than stellar hand. You know, don't make it worse. And that's exactly what he did by just, yeah, riding back a little bit and making sure that he couldn't get involved in it any more than he already was. We're still under pacing here. First caution of the day coming at the start-finish line to kick this thing off.
I believe they should be getting the 1 to green this time by.
Looks like it.
See Philip Martin start on pole, of course, still leading with that quick caution. Toby Ritters, Mark Cofield, Aaron Espy, and Enoch Hancock, your top 5. Dustin Lewis, you know, you had mentioned pre-race, needs a little bit of help in the championship battle to be able to get up there and throw his hat in the ring, but good qualifying effort for him, and he's in a good spot so far here. See if we can get some green flag laps in if he can make his way to the front.
Absolutely. This racetrack, once it gets going, green has that tendency to go long green flag runs because of its difficulty. So I hope that we can get past his first 5-10 laps and maybe have ourselves a heck of a race here tonight. Field once again in the hands of Philip Martin, Toby Ritters. We got past our finish line this time.
We did indeed, already going better than the initial start of the race did. Martin out to an early lead. Ritter slots into second. That's Mark Cofield there now in that 3rd position. Side by side back here at the back portion of the top 5, actually battling for that 5th position. That is Dustin Lewis and Enoch Hancock trading that position back and forth a handful of times per lap here, just with the way that the lines work out. You can see Lewis really able to carry that momentum using that high line, able to clear Enoch Hancock for that 5th position.
Yeah, that's how you're going to have to run this place all night, is you have to be aggressive and go up against that high side. Oh, as V's just popped the wall pretty good off of turn 4. That's where the speed is off the corner. You can make time in the center on the bottom, but you're going to lose it all on the exit unless you have an aggressive diamond of sorts. So going to be difficult to pass tonight.
Yeah, it definitely can be, especially once that top side gets rolling. As you see, Mark Cofield there got really loose through 3 and 4. Aaron Espy going to look to try to take advantage of that, see if he can take that position away. But for now, Cofield able to hang on to it. He's going to retain that 3rd position, but just early on here, it looks like that 97 car struggling for some rear grip. Seen him a little bit sideways here, especially off of that exit of turn 4 a couple of times.
Yeah, let's just keep our eyes on that 97 here as we.
Oh, and farther back in the pack, one of our championship contenders, Matthew Montgomery, is around. The nose of that car had actually fallen off momentarily, and iRacing popped it right back on there for him, but pretty substantial hit to the wall for the 9 car here.
In between Hancock and Michael Cole. Oh, yeah, there's a bit of an overcorrect trying to keep that thing pointed in the right direction, but yeah, that is just a case of running the higher line, but not as high maybe as Michael Cole expected. Cole kind of sent it in there a little bit harder than maybe Montgomery expected, and regardless of round goes the 9. Got some decent damage as well on that left rear. You can kind of see it from here. Have a better look at it. Whole back end is seen some better days. Now, aero's not going to impact you too bad here. It's really mechanical grip that you worry about, and with hitting the nose head on, that's not good for it.
That is indeed less than ideal at most racetracks. Yeah, that's going to be no different here. But yeah, we even saw it, that nose popped off and then it kind of reformed back on the car. So definitely a substantial hit there for Matthew Montgomery. And, you know, you never want to run into issues during a race, but I mean, if you're going to have it happen, it's happened early enough that he's got plenty of time to recover from it, try to work his way back up. But, you know, this is only helping out Dustin Lewis, who's now in that 5th position. As we keep kind of mentioning that championship battle, we said he needed to have a little bit of fortune go his way. And so far, he's in position to cut that gap down and at least make it a 3-horse race as we head to the finale next week.
You know who else has helped out? Is every driver in the field. Because now, if you pit here, we can make it on one stop to the end. Most drivers chose not to pit here, only a couple did. So Caleb Jones and Matthew Montgomery, obviously, who had the spin, they find themselves now in the catbird seat should we go green the rest of the way.
Yeah, it's a really smart strategy call because you never know when these races could go long on a green flag run. Even if it doesn't go green all the way, all it takes is just being able to stay out while some of your competitors come down pit road. You can trap them a lap down. So, you know, good call. I like it. I thought they were going to get the 1 to green there, but still under pacing currently. It looks like they actually may have extended the caution there just for an extra lap. But yeah, so far, though, at the front, it's been all Philip Martin. You know, had these 2 early cautions, but he's been fairly in control once they do get rolling green. He gets those good jumps on the start, and just nobody really able to get up there and put the pressure on him just yet.
And also not wanting to push too hard in these cars. They already lay on the right front as it is. So trying to drive hard and get the lead early is probably going to hurt you in the long run if you're Toby Ritters or Mark Cofield or Aaron Espy or whoever else is up in the top 10. You just don't want to take those early chances, especially if we're going to continue to have that yellow piece of fabric fly. You don't want to, you know, put yourself in a bad spot on tire strategy in case we happen to go on a long green flag run one of these times.
Yeah, absolutely. But Field has been given the 1 to green. You can see the lights are off on the pace car. That front row of Martin and Ritters, as it has been for pretty much the entirety of the race here, these first 15 laps. Those 2 running first and second. Field going to be in control of Martin as they come back to the restart zone.
Into the restart zone. Another good jump for the 64. He will clear, so will Ritters into second.
Back behind them, Mark Cofield able to retain that 3rd position. Aaron Espy hanging on to 4th, but the battle for 5th is on again between Enoch Hancock and Dustin Lewis. Those 2 battling for that spot. Enoch Hancock finally able to complete that pass, and now Derek Skluttle in the 10 going to get up there and try to put some pressure on Lewis as well.
Absolutely, and behind them, Jared Green and Brandon Vees, the 2 drivers who have driver cams for us, and I will show those a little bit later in the show. You get to see the molten corn on the cob, as we call it, and you're probably wondering what the heck I'm talking about. Well, you'll find out, folks. We'll get there, but for now, Ritters makes an appearance at the lead, not quite able to get it done.
It took a look to the bottom there, just running a little bit different line. And, you know, right there where you see our top 3-4 cars running, that's basically the lowest that you're going to run just throughout the run. As you can see, Aaron Espy just a little bit of contact with the wall there off of 4.
Just a kiss.
Looks like he may have actually kissed it again through 1 and 2 there. But yeah, that's basically the lowest you're going to run because there's just slightly more banking up there in those top grooves. As we ride on board here with Zechariah Cartledge, you kind of see the different lines. See Palmer in the 2 is running that bottom groove, but you're just not quite able to carry that momentum with it being just a little bit flatter down there. You know, it's almost kind of like a New Hampshire, that where like that bottom lane at New Hampshire just is ever so slightly flatter, but you can use it to kind of slide somebody, try to dive in there and complete a pass on them.
I think New Hampshire's a great comparison to this particular facility. The only real difference is that at New Hampshire, there is a cushion per se, where you only want to run the second groove, not the third groove. Where here, you want to get as close to that wall as you can to get all the speed that you can, as we have a battle for the lead for the first time tonight.
Yeah, Toby Ritter's really making that bottom lane work. He would look like he was clear of the 64, and he is going to clear on Martin here. And actually, Mark Cofield going to jump to the inside. He's seeing how Ritters is making that bottom lane work, and he's going to go down there and give it a shot as well. So new leader, put the 88 at the top of the pylon, as all these guys looking like they are just a little bit loose there off of 4 that last
This
lap.
might be the first time all season drivers have fought the free condition, and looks like everyone is just trying to drive this thing and not wreck it. Let's see what Aaron Espy's dealing with here. Decent amount of wheeling in the center of the corner and on exit. Doesn't seem to be too free at all. Let's see maybe something different out of turn 2 here.
Yeah, and the one thing I'm wondering, and we'll probably get a better view of it here with going through 3 and 4 this time, is you see he's right on where that transition is to the flatter part down on the bottom, and he did put a little bit of counter steer in it there. So what it looks like some of these guys are doing is, you see him running that diamond where he kind of drifts up just a little bit in the middle, cuts it back down on exit. But if you cut it down too far and you clip your left side tires on that transition where the banking drops off, it can upset the balance of the car just a little bit. As you can see, he actually kissed the wall just a touch there off of 4 yet again. So yeah, it could just upset it just enough to where it's just breaking those rear tires loose.
Yeah, they call that de-wedging the race car, and it's very helpful if you have a car that won't turn. You need to put a little bit of right rear wear into it, a little right rear heat into it. You can try running on those seams, because with the right side jacked up, it's almost like you're adding an extra 1,000 pounds or so of spring in it that really makes it want to rotate quickly. So it's a savvy move to do that, but if you do it wrong, you crash. So be careful.
Take a look a little farther back here. Zechariah Cartledge, our championship leader, coming into this race. Oh, right as soon as we put the camera on him, a little bit of contact with the wall off of 4 there, just like we've seen with a few of our other drivers tonight. So far, from basically starting last on the field, he is up 9 positions, although the tail of the tape is going to say that he's down 2 from where he started. But with that EOL, worked his way about halfway up through the field, running behind Brandon V's here, trying to get around him for that 9th position. So, you know, right now, doing what he needs to do as far as just keeping the car clean, and his closest championship competitor was Matthew Montgomery back there in the 16th position as they currently run.
And Matthew's running all by his lonesome, a little bit of right front damage on that car. I think he's just trying to labor till the next caution, and because he's a ways off. He's about 2/10 off the pace of the leader, and he also has clean air. So clearly that car not doing what it needs to do for Matthew Montgomery to be able to be as fast as we've seen all season long.
Yeah, and he has not used that faster pair, as you can see with the visuals there on the car, still showing that damage. So, I mean, it is a little bit of a risk that if you don't catch a caution soon enough, you know, the leader can come around, put you a lap down. But I like the call, though. I think it's way too early to try to burn that faster pair. So see how that plays out for him, as we got a good battle for position here between Cole and Palmer. Palmer up there on that top groove, you can see just fighting grip off the exit of 4. Cole down there on the inside in that 43, trying to make this pass stick. Just not quite able to clear up in front of Palmer and put that slide job on.
He's trying every trick he knows right now to get up there, and he just cannot quite get enough speed. Palmer's going to clear him one more time here. But you mentioned a good point. I want to kind of have a look at this a little further. So we're going to be at the start-finish line, and we're going to see the leader right there. That pink machine, that's Philip Martin. Well, now let's wait and see, where is Matthew Montgomery and Zechariah Cartledge. There's Cartledge. Still waiting on Montgomery. Still waiting. Still waiting. There's the 9 right there. There's only 3 cars between him and the leader. So definitely going to have to find something or catch a caution, or Montgomery may go a lap down.
Yeah, that just gives a really good visual illustration of just how far behind Matthew Montgomery is right now. You can see over there on the scoring pylon, he's about 16 seconds behind the leader, with the leader running 21.9 second laps. So not too far off from actually going a lap down, and that's going to have big implications in our championship battle if he does indeed go a lap down.
And you mentioned that Martin's running 21.9s. Well, Montgomery's running 22.9s. He's a full second slower. We're only running 22 lap times. He's already 16 behind, 17 behind. So it's only going to be another couple laps before the leader's right there.
Yeah, he is not far off. So if he's going to catch that caution he needs, it's going to have to come in short order here for him. Back up a little bit closer towards the front. Battle for fourth is heating up. That's SB, Enoch Hancock, Dustin Lewis running up there in fourth, fifth, and sixth. As you can see, Enoch Hancock making a little bit of contact with the wall there. And it looks like they may be a little bit faster than Aaron SB right now, but SB just doing what he needs to do, keeping the car clean, using the top groove to keep that momentum up and play a little bit of defense. Let's take a look a little farther back here. Zachariah Cartledge up yet another position, gets around Jared Green, so put Cartledge up to 8th now.
He's got Scluttle in front of him. See if the 10 will give way, since I believe they are teammates or affiliates or something of that nature. Looks like he will. Can in short order move the 61 up to the 7th position. Should be able to clear off the corner here. Maybe down here in one. There it is. Yeah, Scluttle let him have it for sure. Cartledge up to the top side. New 7th place car tonight.
Yeah, just the rebound run for him continues, able to get up to that 7th position. He is 9 seconds back of the leader, but pretty well clear of his closest championship rival at this point. And Dustin Lewis just 1 position ahead right now. And, you know, Lewis does have the opportunity with this battle to potentially pick up a couple of spots. But for now, these three have just been running, I mean, pretty much right on top of one another, but nobody able to make that pass for position as of yet.
Yeah, right about that. Right in the tire tracks. SB is doing everything he knows how to do to be able to keep the 15 behind him. Will it be enough as we close in with about 30 laps? A little under 30 laps until we make our pit stops for the first time.
Let's take a look from the back of Aaron Espy, looking at that 15 of Enoch Hancock. Hancock looking again down to the inside, seeing if he can complete this pass and make it stick.
Good run there.
This is about the closest he's been getting down into the turn, just not quite able to dive it deep enough down in there.
He's going to get him.
Slot drop. Oh, they door bang off of 4 though.
Yeah, that's not going to make SB very happy. I don't imagine that 15 is going to get much love from the 3 the rest of the run here. Crossover coming off of turn number 2. SB can't quite get there. Yeah, that might ruffle a little bit of feathers later in the race.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you get here quite a bit at IRP with just the way this track drives. It can be so irritating sometimes. And I mean, Aaron Espy was not doing anything wrong. So, you know, just to make clear, he was running his race, not doing anything wrong, doing everything he could to maintain that position. But there's times where you know that you're faster than the guy in front of you. As you can see, Hancock is pulled out here by about half a second or a little bit more over Espy. But just with the way this place races, it's so hard to complete that pass. And sometimes you got to get the elbows out a little bit, and that's what makes this place interesting.
Yeah, absolutely right. And let's ride on board here, shall we, with Brandon Vies in the 65 as he tries to navigate this racetrack.
See, Brandon was down there working that bottom groove. One of our drivers that does have his camera on here this evening. And actually over there in 3 and 4 the last time by, he was down there on the apron searching for grip. But Stephen McDonald was able to get around him for position not quite able to complete that pass, and that's another danger of running the bottom around this racetrack, is you could go to make up one position and end up losing 2 or 3, as Michael Cole was actually able to get around as well.
You can tell he's definitely fighting, and he's tight in the center and loose on the exit when he puts the power down, just really waiting for this pit stop so he can get this thing, more fresh tires on it, diagnose kind of where he's losing time, and go find it. He was up in the top 5 at one point, falling back to 12th at this juncture.
Yeah, he was having a really solid run, and I can also confirm personally, I have had that same look on my face at this racetrack quite a few times. As you know, we mentioned he went to go make one pass, and he ended up losing 2 spots in the process, just with the way you get freight trained up there on the top. And that is enough to irritate you sometimes around here. But talking about our championship contenders, Dustin Lewis now has gotten around Aaron Espy, put him up into the top 5 now. And looking a little farther back, Matthew Montgomery did indeed fall off the lead lap. He's the only car 1 lap down at the moment. So if a caution does come out, he would get that free pass and get back on the lead lap. But yeah, that's big for our championship battle.
Yeah, don't look now. Right behind this red car is the pink one, the leader, Philip Martin. So that is not what Matthew Montgomery wants to see at all, is another driver go a lap down, because clearly does not have the pace. Brandon V's, I think, just lost connection on the race here. He's back in the race now.
Yeah, that was a pretty substantial blink for Brandon V's there, but is back out on the racetrack after that took place. No harm, no foul, didn't actually drop out of the session completely, able to continue on from there. But up at the front, Martin has checked out pretty substantially here. A little farther back, this is a battle for that final spot in the top 10. Michael Cole and Stephen McDonald doing a really nice job here, putting on a good battle for this position. Cole really working that bottom groove now. And yeah, you know, we're closing in on pit stops. You can really see these guys starting to fight it off, especially off the exit of 4. It seems like it's worse there than it is off the exit of 2, just fighting that rear grip.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, 10 to 15 laps, as you mentioned, from hitting that pit stop for most drivers. Remember, a few stayed out longer. Jones, Montgomery, Jordan Bridges, they pit earlier so they can go another 20 laps instead of 10 laps. So that'll be curious to see if maybe they can catch a caution. That would definitely change the day for Matthew Montgomery and others, but it really remains to be seen of what this pit sequence is going to look like.
Yeah, and the one thing that I'm curious of, because personally I've never actually made a green flag pit stop here at this track. So, but of course, as I'm getting ready to talk about that, it's all for naught. We've actually got a caution out on the track. That is David Moyer in the 47 that is around. So take all that green flag pit cycle stuff we were talking about. Go ahead and toss that out the window. We've got the yellow flag out again.
Looking at that red, white, and blue 47. And he absolutely pile drove the 9. He got Zach as well. He got both championship drivers in one fell swoop, did David Moyer.
Yeah, and I actually heard him on race comms miking up and apologizing immediately as soon as that happened. I didn't initially see what it was, but yeah, I can see why now. So he was taking ownership of that and trying to, you know, just let them know nothing intentional there. But yeah, 2 of our championship contenders with that caution. I don't think, well, I was going to say, I don't think cartilage got that much damage, but you can see it there. The whole nose popped off the car. So
it's back. Okay, it's back.
Yeah, same thing that I think happened to Montgomery earlier, where it came off and then iRacing said, nah, you can have it back.
I was sure that was going to be worse than it was. Still, though, cannot make it to the end from here.
That's still going to be short of making it a one-stop race, but Philip Martin able to retain that lead for now. So he's going to win the race off of pit road, and it looks like one of our top runners may actually have gotten a black flag.
Cofield for speeding, kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was speeding or if maybe he got bit by unsafe pit exit, because I heard somebody else mention that too. And something that we hadn't actually talked about, the pit exit here it's really narrow. You know, you can see how they're leaving the pit road there from that sky cam we've got, but you have to stay on that apron exactly
Oh, I see
until
that.
you get to the back straightaway, and it's barely one car width wide, so it doesn't leave you a lot of leeway when you're leaving pit road. So either way, though, same end result. It's going to be an EOL going to have to work their way back up through the field here.
Yeah, see if we can get a shot of it. I see what you're talking about, though, here off of turn 2. You'll see a blue cone and a blue line on the ground. That tells you where you have to be to the left of exiting the pit lane. See if we can get it here. There it is, on the left side of your screen. You have to have all 4 tires on that blue line between the yellow line and the grass. And there's not a lot of room there. Very easy to push it a little too hard and step outside, especially under green flag conditions, though we are under caution right now.
Yeah, we had talked about the comparisons with this place in New Hampshire earlier, and New Hampshire is very similar to that also. It's a very narrow pit exit. So, yeah, something to keep in mind for these drivers. And, you know, one thing I just noticed with this caution, Matthew Montgomery actually staying out here, taking the wave around. So he's back on the lead lap, but he's banking on getting another quick caution here where he can get back on even tires, get some damage fixed, and hopefully get himself back into this race.
Well, that's a bold strategy, but I mean, champions, they got to be bold at some point in the season. Won 3 races already. He's really been feast or famine for the 9, and we'll see if he can turn this one around. Field back in the hands of Philip Martin and Toby Ritters. It's been all night. Into the restart zone, and we're back racing.
Another strong restart for Martin. He's going to clear, as is Toby Ritters. They are going to be in the first and second position. Side by side, though, for P3.
There goes Lewis.
Oh, Justin Lewis able to hang on to it. I thought he was going to go around there, but really nice save out of the 33.
Oh, there goes Hancock into the fence. No caution. Caution's out. The caution is out.
Caution is indeed out now, and that was the caution that Matthew Montgomery was looking for back on the lead lap. Let's take another quick look here on this replay. We talked about the 33 of Dustin Lewis got loose there right before that. Just cold tires, not a lot of heat in it. Montgomery, you could see the car started to step out just a little bit on him as he got his left sides below that dotted line through the turn where that banking transition is. You know, we talked about de-wedging the car a few times tonight, and once he did that, it's just around she went.
Yeah, you really should try to avoid de-wedging the car on cold tires. I know that wasn't his intent, obviously, to spin, but Hancock backs it up into the fence regardless. And that was exactly the caution the 9 needed. And that puts him back in the fight. I imagine we'll see him on pit road. There he is, hustling as hard as he can to get to pit road. Probably fast repair 4 tires and fill it up with fuel, as now he will go back to being the best on fuel. Still, I believe, going to be a good number of laps short, 15 or so short of making it to the end on fuel here.
Yeah, by the math that I was given earlier, they are still going to be short by about 20 to 30 laps from here. So not quite in that window, even with a substantial number of cautions. I would think they still would not be able to make it from here.
Sweet. Little drone action here onto the backstretch of this facility. Drivers pacing, working. Caution number 4 of the day, 2 lead changes. I believe those just happened because of the way pit road works. I guess Ritters did take up the lead away a little bit, but yeah, those are your 2 leaders today. Currently running 1-2. We now have Lewis up to 3rd, doing what he has to do to try and get back into this championship fight, as he is 18 back of Cartledge with only a race and now just over a half to go.
And Cartledge now up there in that number 4 position. So really nice drive from him, making his way up through the field. And just taking a look here, he did not have to use his fast repair for that incident that took place earlier. Matthew Montgomery, though, he did indeed use his fast repair. So number 9 car going to be back good to roll here once we get back green, but kind of in that danger zone now that if something happens at this point, it could be a night ender for him.
Yeah, he's living right on the edge, but sometimes that's just the way these races play out. You have to play defense for the rest of the race, and you know what? So what? You still got to go out there and perform just like everybody else. And you've got 75 or so laps to get it done.
And that 64 car up there, I actually just noticed that this is horrible that I just noticed it, running the old Days of Thunder throwback there with the Superflow scheme. So good looking car there. And even with the number being flipped the way it normally is instead of the 46, but yeah, good looking paint scheme there for Philip Martin. But these drivers just got the 1 to green. Everybody doubled up. We're going to be turning them loose again here in just a half a lap.
Into turn number 3 they roll. Philip Martin has dominated the day, led 59 laps already. Into the restart zone one more time. And another fantastic jump.
As he has done all evening, clears to the lead. Toby Ritter's hanging on to that number 2 position as he has done all of these restarts here as well. Back behind them, though, battle is on. Zechariah Cartledge trying to get that number 3 position from Lewis. Looks like he's actually ahead right now. There's trouble in the back of the pack yet again. Like the 35 of Gino Valenti was caught up in that. It's like Bridges was caught up as well in the 45. Jordan Bridges. Didn't quite see what happened. I just caught a couple of cars sideways there as we take a look on the instant replay.
Oh, Gino into the back of the 45. 45 tags the 47 and the 10. Oh, big hit for Valenti.
Yeah, that was a big hit there for Valenti. Just got in a little too hot into the turn, it looked like, and into the back of Bridges.
There aren't really any good marks here for braking zone. You definitely have to use the brakes in this facility. Hard to hit that braking zone every time, especially with the car in front of you. And then watch right here, catches the 10 and back up across the racetrack, and boom! Yeah, that's a big hit. Another one down there.
Yeah, Derek Skluttle getting a piece of that. David Moyer as well. David Moyer actually showing a black flag currently, and I believe that's an incident point penalty black flag.
I would imagine,
for the 47, having been caught up in a couple different wrecks here this evening. So not the way that he was hoping that the night would go. And Gino Valenti caught up in a couple of incidents here as well. So tough night for both of those drivers so far.
Yeah, absolutely right about that. But more pacing means better fuel mileage. Drivers now getting close to making it to the end on fuel. Another probably 2 cautions, and we could make it potentially. So some drivers have that in the back of their mind for sure.
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised that we don't see anybody near the back of the pack coming in and topping off right here. You know, it wouldn't be a huge stretch to make it to the end from here, just from what we saw earlier. Get a couple of cautions, you could easily save it. So, especially for somebody like Mark Cofield that we saw that had speed earlier, or even like a Matthew Montgomery. Take a look here at Jared Green. There was that, what did you call that earlier?
The molten corn on the cob.
Yeah, the molten corn on the cob. I was thinking lava corn for some reason. And I knew that's
better.
What you called
actually, lava corn's better. We're going to use that now.
Yeah, once you see it, you can't unsee it. But yeah, We appreciate Jared having his cam on here this evening.
You bet.
I don't think I've ever seen a light up mic like that before. That's kind of neat. I like
Yeah,
that.
not one put in the corn on the cob position. That's for sure. All right, back to it here. We're doubled up. Once again, Jared running in the 11th spot, trying to make a dent in that top 10. Philip Martin, again, has the lead over Toby Ritters. And yes, Jacob, you're absolutely right. Philip Martin is putting the biscuit in the basket, as they say. Oh, Ritters tried to time it up that time and missed. Again, a great jump for the... Oh, he got spun by Cartledge. Ritters just got spun.
Yeah. Oh, and Ritters back up into the track. He got hit by MJ Palmer. I think Matthew Montgomery made it through that, but I saw the knot flash by, and that was a really close moment there.
Wow.
To take a look at this on the VSPEED instant replay, you said it. Ritters did not get a good start there. Cartledge down into the turn. I couldn't tell if it looked like there might have been a touch of net code there as well.
Montgomery did get around him. Wow.
Matthew Montgomery with an evasive maneuver there, able to get through that, almost the night ender that we had talked about just a moment ago.
I didn't know that Matthew Montgomery was driving a Formula car with the amount of left-right. It was like a chicane at Monza he just did. Watch this.
Even a little farther back, there was a big checkup on the bottom.
Woo. That's getting it. Oh, man. Ritters also with the black flag for that penalty. Jordan Bridges also got the penalty for incident points.
Yeah, a couple of drivers there, and just hear Race Control mention no penalty on that. There was a pretty substantial amount of net code there between Cartledge and between the 88 there of Toby Ritters. So it's really unfortunate. It's something that we've seen pop up from time to time with this ARCA car specifically, where it just seems like the net code is a little bit worse in this one than it is in some of the other stock cars. Yeah,
definitely true. And also just at a racetrack where the middle or the high groove, the fast lane is undefined as to like where it actually is. Is it in the middle of those two hash marks? Is it on the bottom one? Is it on the top one? Nobody really knows where the fast line is. Different for every driver. That also has a big part in these incidents where, you know, one driver tries to diamond it late, one driver tries to kind of take a faster entry, and they collide in the middle, and around one of them goes. So, racing incident, but yeah, really tough break for Ritters.
Yeah, absolutely. But one thing about it, he's been fast all evening, so still has an opportunity to work his way back through the field. He's going to be back in 15th, though, after coming down pit road, getting some tires, getting some damage fixed with all of that. So still got some work ahead of him, but that's going to put Zechariah Cartledge up on the front row for the first time this evening. And, you know, we know he's going to be aggressive going for that lead. We'll see if he's got anything here for Philip Martin.
Yeah, definitely curious to see what the 61's got in it. Haven't seen him in clean air yet tonight. Really haven't seen anyone in clean air besides the 88 and the 64. We'll be curious. And one more point on Ritters. Yeah, if he can make it to the field here, as Moyer, not really sure where Moyer's going. It's going to be difficult to do, but he's still got 70 laps to do it.
Yes, sir. As we get ready to go back green, I think David Moyer actually had the lucky dog there and hadn't taken it, but we are back to green. Philip Martin able to get the good jump that he's gotten throughout all of these restarts. Zechariah Cartledge clears into second, though. Highest that he's been running this evening. We'll see what kind of speed that 61 has to try to get up here and put some pressure on Martin for the lead. And actually, just as I say that, caution is back out.
Oh, and it's Ritters again.
It is indeed. You can see him spun around there. I actually just heard him mic up and say, sorry, that was my fault in the race comms, to see exactly what happened to him here as his race going downhill really quickly after a strong start to the evening. It's MJ Palmer up there on the top side, and oh yeah, just squeezes up into him just a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was there.
Yeah, runs them both into the wall there. So unfortunate circumstance there for both of them.
For sure. They're both going to hit the pit road here, and we are now in the window where I think we can make it to the end on fuel. I'm surprised more drivers don't feel that same way. We've got Palmer, Ritters, and Bridges on the pit lane. Nobody else choosing to hit that pit road yet.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's a really interesting decision to not come down and top off with fuel. I mean, if you're somebody up there in probably the top 5, 6, 7, anywhere in that area, I don't think you could give up the track position to pit right now. But, you know, if you're somebody like we mentioned with Mark Cofield earlier that was running up top 3 and is just behind on track position, or even Matthew Montgomery, Derek Scluttle, one of those guys, Jordan Green, you know, I think it would be worth rolling the dice here to come down and say, this may be my last pit stop of the race.
Yeah, you could almost pack up the pit cart after that. But, I mean, tire fall-off is also pretty aggressive here. So getting those new tires now, we're 25 laps, you know, into this run. We'll have to see what Matthew Montgomery, Toby Ritters, you know, what they have in terms of pace here, because it could be worth it just for tires alone.
Yeah, and that is true. The big question mark with this track, it's always a matter of, you know, do you want the fresher tires or do you want the track position? Because as we've seen a couple times here this evening, the cautions can stack up pretty quick. So it could get to a point where once you get that lead, if you catch the cautions at the right spot there, as you can see, we are on caution number 7 here on lap 83. So, you know, they could stack up pretty quick. And if that happens, you may be able to just maintain the lead on those older tires.
Yeah, definitely. But I think the leader isn't too worried about it because you have the ability to use that clean air and all that. It's everybody else that I think is worried about tires, because you have to deal with dirty air. And the farther you get back in the field, the more that dirty air compounds, and the worse and worse your car drives, the less able you are to kind of diamond the corner or really charge the corner or whatever have you. So, yeah, I'm surprised more drivers didn't pit, basically, is my moral of the story. I would have been on pit road for sure under this caution. Hey, I still could. You know, I am in the session after all.
That is very true. And, you know, one thing that I did just notice is that Matthew Montgomery did indeed come down and hit pit road. So, you know, he's been behind the 8 ball on track position. This could be the break that he needs. If it goes green or if he catches a caution at the right time, putting himself in that spot to try something a little bit different, see if he can leapfrog some guys.
He pit twice on this caution, once to get tires, once to make sure he got it packed full of fuel. Field rolling 3 and 4 in the hands again of Martin and Cartledge. New player up at the front. How about Caleb Jones making an appearance? Another good jump.
Philip Martin able to easily clear for the lead yet again. And you had mentioned it right there as we went to green. Caleb Jones in that 0-2 machine. He's actually going to be able to take third from Dustin Lewis. Highest that we've seen him running so far here this evening. So see if he's got anything for these two ahead of him. It's a little bit further back. You can see that's Mark Cofield down there on the bottom inside of his teammate there, actually Stephen McDonald in the 68, trying to work his way back up to the field.
And look at this knot of cars we have here, 5 or so under a blanket. One slip, and it's not good news for any of them. Spluttel's going to make the pass on green. And maybe try to get one on V's as well.
Esteban carrying a lot of momentum down there on that bottom groove, still right there at the quarter panel of Brandon V's. Wasn't quite able to drive it in down on the bottom to try to get alongside, so he's going to slot back in behind him for now. And, you know, just from what I've been seeing here this evening, Morgan, it seems like for whatever reason, if you're going to try to dive bomb someone, for lack of a better term, you've almost got to do it in 1 and 2. For 3 and 4, it just seems like you're not able to drive it in quite as deep as you can on the other side of the racetrack.
We just saw another good example right there. You can't really get on the throttle out of turn 4 either on that bottom of the racetrack. We saw the 97 go for a big slip right there as they're too wide in front of them with SB, and then it looks Hancock as well. Right in front of SB. Michael Cole has a good view of this. There it is. Right there. Very easy to slip that right rear tire and make it mad.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mark Cofield, actually another one of our drivers that is a little bit better on fuel than these top 8 cars in front of him. Mark Cofield currently 26 laps in, everybody else ahead of him 33 laps in on this stint. Of course, a lot of caution laps in there as well, but he can go just a little bit farther.
Sorry,
yeah, definitely.
Sorry, Cofield contact there with McDonald. Kind of moving up the racetrack. They're teammates, but they are not racing like it right now.
Yeah, a little teammate on teammate action there between the two of them. Banging doors just a little bit there, but able to get it sorted back out and single file down for now, as that was Enoch Hancock just a few cars ahead that actually got into the wall. That was a pretty good slap to the wall off of turn 4 there.
He popped it, that's for sure. We'll see if he's able to continue on just fine or if he's got damage. I don't see anything on the right front. No, the car's fine. I was going to do it again right there. So easy to catch the wall off of turn 4.
Yeah, we've seen, I don't know how many puffs of smoke we've seen coming off of turn 4 here this evening. We almost need like one of those Darlington stripe counters that they used in real life. How many times have we seen that turn 4 stripe for these guys here this evening? But doing a good job overall of being able to control it. But up here for the 4th and 3rd position is Dustin Lewis trying to take it back away from Caleb Jones, and he's going to be able to clear through 1 and 2.
That was a power move. I'm not sure how he made that work, but he was able to sail it off into the corner and slide job just far enough in front that Caleb Jones had no real chance to defend it. And that's a new 3rd place position, Dustin Lewis.
Yeah, the power move is exactly the way I was getting ready to describe it there. Really impressive that he was able to make that move stick. As we take another look back at this gaggle of cars that we've got right here. This is Mark Cofield in the 97, looking ahead from the roof cam, still following his teammate Stephen McDonald in that 68 car. You can see a little side-by-side up there. It's Michael Cole and Enoch Hancock getting a little tight there through 1 and 2. Thought they might make a little bit of contact, but they're still side-by-side for that position ahead.
That's a great example of when you have 2 cars side by side at a racetrack like this, it hurts everyone around you. Oh, heavy wall contact for Cofield.
Yeah, that was a really big smack to the wall, and most important thing about the way that he hit it was that he led into it with the right front. It wasn't really a side slap to the wall either, so visually it doesn't show any damage, but I'm sure you probably experienced this at some point too, Morgan. Sometimes with these cars specifically, it'll still give you that damage even though it may not visually show it. And you know, those are the ones that can ruin your night pretty quick.
No, I don't hit anything ever. Kidding. Of course I have. Yeah, you're totally right. Sometimes it bends suspension without showing bent sheet metal, and it won't even say that you have wheel damage. But sometimes you just know you have wheel damage because the thing you were just able to do, you can't do it anymore. And the car gets a little bit weird in certain spots on the racetrack. So hopefully he's not fighting that, neither the 97 nor the 15 who've seen pop the wall as well. But both these drivers are bookending this little group here from 6th back to 9th. Oh, another wall contact for a couple drivers.
I think we just saw about 4 of them right in a row there coming off of turn 4. A few cars in between each of them as Mark Cofield goes to the inside, gets a little bit tight underneath of his teammate. Somebody over there at this team might need to have a word with these guys and say, hey, let's bring it back in one piece here. need to get the team owner on the horn or something over there. But Mark Cofield able to take that 8th place from Stephen McDonald. See if he can work his way up a little bit farther, get back some of that track position he lost earlier. Michael Cole there in the 43. He's still trying to find a way around Enoch Hancock. You know, that might be the angle of the night right there with that camera, seeing them coming off there. You just see the smoke flying as they come off.
Absolutely. And this is the battle for 6th position. Hancock and Cole. SB just in front of him, and that black 3, the familiar number 3 machine.
And one thing we saw on that long green flag run earlier was SB start to fade a little bit when we did have that one. Getting to that point of the run now, it looks like. But our top 2 of our basically 3 championship contending drivers that we still have running 2nd and 3rd with Cartledge and Dustin Lewis. Dustin Lewis has absolutely tracked down Zechariah Cartledge, and he is putting the heat on for that number 2 spot.
Yeah, Lewis has been the fastest driver on the racetrack for the last few laps. Cartledge has definitely fell off a cliff here the last couple. It's going to be tough to make this pass, but man, if Lewis can do it, I think he can track down Philip Martin.
Yeah, Dustin Lewis has been putting together some really impressive lap times. It seems like his strength so far has been these long green flag runs when we did have that one earlier. Now that we're starting to get another one of these, he's really kind of up there flexing his muscle a little bit, chasing these guys down. So really impressive that he's able to just kind of manage those tires. Starts heating up that 61 car for the 2nd spot. But you had mentioned it, it's so hard to complete that pass, especially when you've got that dirty air right there in front of you. So, you know, good job by Cartledge here so far, not putting a tire out of place and just running a really nice defensive line around there to just do what he needs to do to keep that momentum up.
Yeah, this is one of those lines where you just can't do anything about it. I mean, he enters low, he slides up in the center, diamonds the corner without crossing over that seam. You kind of just got what you got if you're Lewis right now. But, you know, the best news is they're both chasing down the leader. Philip Martin is getting bigger in the windshield. That's a first. We haven't seen that all night tonight.
Yeah, this last time around, Philip Martin ran a 22.40 to Zechariah Cartledge running a 22.11 and Dustin Lewis at a 22.12. So even with those 2 racing for position, still a couple of tenths faster. And yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. That is something that we had not seen at all this evening, is really other than the one short stretch where Ritters was up there and had actually taken the lead from Martin. You know, we haven't really seen anybody consistently running faster laps. So be interesting to see if maybe Philip Martin's just saving a little bit and pacing, or if these guys have found something to try to get up there and challenge.
I didn't hear anything. Oh, he ripped off a fast lap that time. Yeah, he woke back up. That was a 22 flat to Zechariah's 22.22. So yeah, he's awake again. I think he was just saving his stuff a little bit, trying to get a little false sense of security for these guys, make them burn their stuff up a little bit harder.
He must have been listening to the broadcast in the background.
There's no other way.
Talking about him. Because as soon as we started talking about it, he's like, all right, then. And now he's actually just ran a 21.89. So, yeah, we're going to say that he's got VSPEED on in the background, that he heard us say that. He's like, all right, guys, I'll throw down a heater for you.
He's probably subscribed as well, I would have to imagine. And he's probably wondering why you aren't subscribed at home right now. So if you haven't already, take the time, subscribe to the channel, like the video, do all the stuff that you do to make sure that you can watch all the VSPEED videos that you possibly can. Catch us all when we're live here, like for the NSRLA ARCA series that we're seeing right now. Watching 2 of the top 3 in points, but duke it out here for 2nd. Matthew Montgomery back in 13th, a little off pace, had a rough night tonight. And it's going to be an interesting race next week in Vegas. I can guarantee that.
It definitely is going to be an interesting one. And, you know, something that I'm kind of wondering now, as we did have that earlier rash of cautions, could these leaders potentially make it to the end? You know, we said 70 laps was kind of that upper number of what we were expecting. And, I mean, that would be a big ask to be able to go that far. But especially if you're somebody like Martin, And I'm kind of wondering almost, was Martin maybe saving a little bit of fuel, trying to see if he could stretch it, and maybe realized I'm not going to be able to make it to the end, so let me just go out here and see how big of a lead I can stretch for if I do have to come down pit road. But I mean, if that ends up happening, the driver running the highest right now that we are almost 100% positive can make it to the end is Matthew Montgomery, and back in 12th place.
Yeah, I highly doubt the drivers can make it to the end, and here's why. We've got about 10 laps on this run should we go to 70 on the fuel run. That still is going to put us 20 laps short, and there is no way that with the amount of cautions we've had on this run, which I think has been 4, that you're going to save 20 laps. That's like 8 laps of fuel. Even if you're saving, I don't see how it's possible to save that much fuel in one fuel run. So I think Montgomery is the only one. Montgomery and Ritters. Actually, Ritters passed Montgomery. So Ritters is now the driver leading that charge. He just got by him. I think those are the two who really have the opportunity to make it to the end.
Yeah, and I honestly would agree with that assessment, and I'm starting to think that maybe that is why we did see a couple of those slower laps out of Philip Martin, just try it just to see if it'll work. But yeah, you mentioned it. This right here could end up being the battle for the lead and the battle for the win. If this race does end up going green, these two drivers, Ritters and Matthew Montgomery, both pitted about 20 laps after, actually more than 20 laps, about 25 laps after the rest of the field. So they should be 100% good to go to the end of this race. And man, what a story that would play out to be for two guys that have been, I mean, they've had the noses knocked off the car. They've been sitting sideways in the middle of the track in incidents that a strategy call could get them where they need to be.
Yeah, it's definitely possible, but the only thing that they can't have happen is a caution. Do not cause the caution, or else your strategy, it's over. So Montgomery's got the wall a couple times there on the backstretch, but you just have to know that as a driver. Oh, he got into the side of him. Oh, my goodness. I thought that was going to be it. Ritters got up into the 16 momentarily. Ritters going to go all the way down to the bottom. Slide job not quite enough. Man, we are driving back here.
Yeah, these guys are going at it, and I think Toby Ritters knows that he needs to try to put a car between himself and Matthew Montgomery. If he could do that and use the 16 almost like a pick to slow down Matthew Montgomery just a little bit, he could stretch that lead over him and make this easier on himself if and when everybody else ahead does end up having to pit. So I want to say that's the reason why he was getting so aggressive with trying to get that pass done, trying to make it happen. And I mean, if that's what he's doing, then I mean, it worked for him. You can see there, he's already starting to put a little bit of a gap over Matthew Montgomery.
Absolutely right about that. And I think that's exactly what he was doing. He was just trying to tune it up a little bit so he could get that car in between them. That gap has grown by a decent margin now. It's a good bid here. It's what, 8, 9 tenths when it used to be 1 car length. So smart move, savvy move there by Ritters. Is we still have a great battle for second. Lewis has not let Partridge get away by any stretch. And then behind him as well, Cole and Cofield going at it. Sorry, Cole and Jones going at it.
Yeah, a lot of really good battles all over the track here. You see Michael Cole going to the bottom, trying to get around Caleb Jones at 0-2 car, doing a really nice job of just carrying that momentum and rolling that top groove, and just able to play just enough defense here, carries that momentum off the turn, and he's going to hang on to it. And, you know, you mentioned Mark Cofield there momentarily in that 6th position. He is 7 laps better on fuel than the top 5 cars. I don't necessarily know if that would be enough to get him to the end compared to these other drivers around him, and, you know, compared to Ritters and Matthew Montgomery. But another interesting little wrinkle there, that he can stretch it farther than some of these other guys.
Like, we just hit 70 on this run, just this lap. So if we can go another, say, 8 laps with cautions, I would expect drivers on pit road within 10 laps from now. You know, you could maybe stretch Cofield a little further to, you know, another 15 from now, which still puts you 5 short. So I still don't think he can make it because I don't think he's saving any.
It's definitely intriguing enough that it's got me wondering. And I'm kind of I'm just curious to see how this is going to play out if we don't end up with a caution. And even if we don't end up with one, Mark Cofield has actually chased down Michael Cole and Caleb Jones. Looked like he was thinking about 3 wide there for a second.
He more than thought about it.
Better of it. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. He more than thought about it. He started to stick the nose down there. Thought better of it. Michael Cole finally able to complete that pass on Caleb Jones, put him up into 4th now. And Mark Cofield going to see if he can find a way to do the same here and get up into that top 5. Nice recovery for him from that earlier pit road penalty.
Yeah, big time recovery for sure. Running P6 right now, about to get the 5th spot away if he can complete the pass on Jones. Drag Race might be able to slide job him here like Ritters did earlier. Not quite enough.
And Caleb Jones doing a nice job, just as he did in that battle with Michael Cole, just maintaining that top lane, maintaining that momentum, and able to keep that position for now. See Mark Cofield all the way down to that lowermost groove. This is his best opportunity that he's had. Drives it in deep, pulls the slider. He's able to take that position. Caleb Jones ducked down, thought about the crossover, not quite able to make it happen though. So put Mark Cofield now up into the top 5. And Morgan, I believe we are getting to the point where I think we're getting ready to see some green flag pit stops here.
I would agree with you there. I think Caleb Jones is the first one on pit road. Yes, he is. It has begun, folks. Green flag pit stops. Now the risk.
The other thing
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the other thing that I'm interested to see is how many laps are you going to lose pitting under green?
I was just going to say that. I think it's 2 laps you would lose under green here. That's the risk here is if you pit early and somebody spins coming to pit road or off of pit road, you lose 2 laps, you can't recover. So you want to be the last driver to pit, but you also don't want to get bit by the undercut, which is 0.8 of a second per lap. So when do you pit, early or late in the run?
Yeah, one thing about it too, these drivers are pitting 14 laps shy of making it to the end. That pretty much confirms to me Matthew Montgomery is good to make it to the end, as is the 88 as well. Actually, no, it looks like Toby Ritters had come back down pit road.
He did pit. Ritters just hit pit road. You're right.
Yeah, I am really surprised to see that Ritters came back down. I thought for sure that he would be staying out. And I thought he would inherit the lead. And it makes me wonder now, can somebody like Mark Cofield stretch it? But I think he's actually getting ready to come down.
He's on pit road right now. There he is.
Yeah, with the way this is playing out, you know, depending on if any of those top 4 can make it, this could fall right to Matthew Montgomery in that 9 car.
We've already run 80 laps on this run for Martin, Lewis, Cole, and Hancock. 55 for Matthew Montgomery, well in the window to make it to the end of the race. Oh, this is getting good, folks. Wow.
The other thing that I'm curious of with Martin in that 64, you look to the gap that he has to Matthew Montgomery. Currently, right about 17.5 seconds. If he comes down and does a splash of fuel, I mean, he's got almost a lap on Montgomery. Is there any way that he could potentially catch him back up if he comes down pit road?
You'd still lose 15 seconds because a trip down pit road at best is 30 seconds. Here comes the pit stop. There it is, under green. Oh, he almost spun as well. That's going to give the lead to Matthew Montgomery. Once Dustin Lewis brings it down the pit lane, because I don't believe the 33 can make it.
Dustin Lewis currently on lap 84 of this stint, well beyond what we had
He's
said
coming
for
now.
a green flag run. And you can see it there. He's going to hit pit road, coming in hot. Didn't think he was going to make it at first, but man, he did a whale of a job getting that thing slowed down and getting it onto pit road. But Matthew Montgomery, once he gets back around here, he is going to inherit this race lead. And what a turn of events for one of our championship drivers.
Unbelievable. I mean, spun, what, twice in this race? Once for sure. Got some heavy damage, went a lap down. Ended up hitting just because that made sense at the time after the contact. Who would have thought? It happened to be when nobody else expected it. He's got old tires, but that shouldn't matter. It's a 4-second lead he has on Philip Martin. Martin also on old tires. Wow.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because Martin took fuel only on his pit stop in an effort to try to minimize the damage, basically. Looked like Zechariah Cartledge took 2 tires on his stop with how long he was in the pits. I believe it was 8.1 seconds stationary in the box. But Matthew Montgomery right now, you know, it's not over yet, is all I'm going to say. Philip Martin is under 4 seconds back with 5 to go, and he was a second faster that last lap. So Montgomery's struggling with the handling here. This race is not over yet.
No, they're on the same straightaway now. You see that black number 9 just exiting turn number 2. Philip Martin in that pink and white machine, the 64, that is the competitor. He can see Matthew Montgomery. You can see the number on the side of the car with 5 laps to go from IRP. Oh, we're in for a dandy, folks.
That time by, Philip Martin was only a half a second faster than Matthew Montgomery. I say only a half a second because there's only 4 laps left. That's not going to get him there if he can't pick the pace up just a little bit. Having some issues getting around the 88 of Toby Ritters here, and it has slowed the progress of Philip Martin.
Yeah, Ritters is absolutely destroying Philip Martin's chances right now. Nothing he's doing wrong. It's just like, man, get out of the way. But Ritters doing a great job right now. He's hanging on to a pretty good spot, too. He's 11th right now, so not a bad race at all by a driver who ran up in the top 2 all day until he had the spin off the front bumper of the 61. But that gap is stabilized now, 1.5 seconds with 2 laps to go for Matthew Montgomery.
And the biggest thing that Matthew Montgomery wants to see right now is that white flag. He does not want to see another restart, another caution.
Martin's around. In the wall goes Martin. That should hand the win.
Montgomery had already taken the white flag, so no caution. Going to be out on the racetrack. Matthew Montgomery is free and clear. He's going to bring this thing back around, and he's going to complete the recovery at IRP. What a turn of events for our championship contender.
Matthew Montgomery from the back to the front. He's going to win at IRP. Unbelievable.
And I believe in all of that, Zechariah Cartledge ended up getting up to the number 2 position.
He did.
We talked about a 4-point gap coming into this race between our top 2. It's going to be just about a heads-up race heading into Las Vegas.
With bonus points, that would even them up. That's incredible. What a race we have in store next week in Las Vegas.
Shades of Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart in 2011 is what we're getting ready to have next week, Morgan.
Wow. And big congratulations again to Matthew Montgomery. Started 10th, had a crash, went back through the field, and on fuel strategy, he will bring it home in the first position for his 4th win of the year. We're going to take a quick step aside here. Run a couple commercials here, pay some bills, as they say. You've been watching the National Sim Racing League Association here on VSPEED. Be back right after this with results and interviews with your top 3.
5 champion Bryce Shoemaker is going to take the victory 128 laps without a pit stop.
Donnie Kite's going to get through it all and score his first career win.
Saturday Night Racing League in the throwback at Charlotte goes to Josh Adams.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here are the results from what was a fun one here at IRP. 7 cautions and 4 lead changes, but that is far from the whole story. One of those cautions, Matthew Montgomery getting spun into the outside wall, heavy damage, went a lap down, but caught the right fuel strategy, and he will win here for his 4th win of the year. And that championship fight is going to be tight next week in Las Vegas. As Zechariah Garliff came with a 4-point lead, he will leave probably tied or 1 down to Montgomery. Finish 2nd here this evening. Philip Martin, who led the most laps by a large margin, will round out your podium. We'll talk with those 3 right after this. Dustin Lewis, so close but so far, finishes 4th here tonight. That should about cement his chances to win a championship in this series based on the number of drivers we have week to week. Caleb Jones finishes in 5th. Michael Cole in 6th. Great run for him. Mark Cofield falls back to 7th. Derek Skluttle finishes in the 8th spot. Enoch Hancock in 9th. And Aaron Espy, qualified 4th, did not have a great car tonight, finishes in 10th.
Finishing just outside the top 10, Toby Ritter's in 11th after what was a strong run early on. Led a few laps, ran up in the top 5. Brandon Vees comes home in 12th. Stephen McDonald in 13th. Jared Green comes home in 14th. Jordan Bridges coming home in 15th this evening. David Boyer, he'll finish in 16th with MJ Palmer in 17th. Gino Volanti in 18th. Jameel Gills in 19th. There's that broadcasting again, making another appearance in that 20th position.
You bet. Still finished ahead of Andy Berry in 21st, and Sam Bridges elected not to take the grid here tonight. So you're welcome, Andy. That is going to be the results here this evening. Andy Berry Race Control, of course, making sure this is all possible for us to have an avenue to bring you great racing here on VSPEED. So definitely big thanks to him. But let's have a look. Interviews with your top 3, starting off with 3rd place, Philip Martin. Philip, it's Morgan up in the VSPEED booth. You got a copy?
I got you guys.
All right, well, dominant car today, 132 out of the 150 led tonight. Obviously, wrong side of the fuel strategy. Hindsight 2020, what do you do differently to get this win in victory lane?
Honestly, I just drive the shit out of the thing instead of going back and forth between the fuel strategies. I probably changed my fuel strategy 3 or 4 times in that run, and at first I was gonna save, and then I was like, screw it, I'll just try and put these guys a lap down and then put a splash in it and go. And then I went back to trying to save, and yeah, I just should have whipped it until it was dry and put a splash.
Well, still a really solid run there. You led 132 laps. We saw a bunch of drivers here throughout the evening kind of struggling with grip, especially off the exit of turn 4. Is that something that you really struggled with throughout the evening, or how were you able to really manage that and be as fast as you were throughout the race?
I really enjoy this place. I like this place a lot, and it's just kind of trying to be as straight as you can on exit while having the pedal down. You still kind of got to pedal it a little bit and manage it, but if you're fairly straight, nice straight wheel coming off on exit, you'll save the right rear a lot, and that's all I was trying to do. I know I lost it underneath Toby there. I was trying to get back to Matthew, and it looked like I might have a chance, and it just stepped out on me at the very end and broke the right front upper, and was able to limp it around for third.
Well, Philip, I mean, it was a great race for you tonight. Obviously, probably not what you were looking for in terms of the finishing position, but could definitely take a lot of positives away from this one. Next week at Las Vegas, how you feeling about that one?
I think it's gonna stay in the trailer. I'm not big on the 1.5 mile stuff or any of that stuff. I think I've only made like 3 starts here, and it was Martinsville, Bristol, and this place. So I enjoy the short tracks more than anything, and we'll see what the schedule looks like for next season.
Yeah, I call you the short track ace for a reason. But while we got you up here in the V Speed booth, who do you want to thank? Who do you want to shout out? Anything you want to say to the fine people watching here on V Speed?
Typically I got a Dante Curtis Designs on the cars, but I didn't have him make one this time. I didn't get a chance to bug him about it, so he's been kind of busy with his own race car stuff. So I just found one on Trading Paints, and Weltmeyer Engineering's usually on the car too, and you know keep the thing going fast. Got to thank you guys for broadcasting it. All the drivers here tonight. It was actually a pretty decent race compared to Bristol and Martinsville when I ran last. So it was kind of surprising and actually pretty happy about it. So I know it was rough there in the middle stages, but you'll have it every now and then. And then all the admins for all the hard work. It's never easy, especially when you got 30 plus cars every night and in a couple different series. So it's a lot of hard work on those guys. So I appreciate them too.
Awesome. Well, appreciate that. Thanks for your time, Philip, and congratulations on third place tonight.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Third place finisher, Philip Martin. Up to the middle step on the podium, Zechariah Cartledge. Morgan and Daniel up in the booth. You got a copy.
Yeah, I got a copy, man.
All right. Well, you qualified up in, what was it, 8th spot. Obviously, the EOL from last week put you behind the 8 ball early, but you quickly made your way up through the field.
Oh
I
my
think you were
goodness.
in the top 3 by lap 50 or 60, something like that. And then from there, you just never could quite break through to the lead. What were you missing under the hood of this 61 machine?
Yeah, well, I don't usually like praising my competitor, especially the one I'm rivaling for the championship. But even if I was leading that race and I was beating Philip Martin, Matthew Montgomery would have won that race. Philip Martin literally broke his right front on the last lap, so I would have finished third or second either way. Montgomery just had a perfect outcome of events. And actually, I was thinking about, man, I should have trusted my gut. I was thinking about going down with him because I knew he was going to pit that time. But all of my R2R teammates were like, no, there's going to be another caution. And I saw that Philip Martin stayed out, so I just didn't trust my gut. I feel like if I trusted my gut, I would have probably had maybe different circumstances. But, I mean, here's the thing. I don't know if you check the points.
They're
We
tied.
are tied. We
They're
are
tied.
tied going into the last race. This is going to be insane. I don't know how I don't know what happens if we tie again. I don't know if it's by average finish or wins or whatever, but um listen, I had a good race today. I only got 8x. I played it really conservative. I didn't even talk once on the mic today. I was very quiet. And both of my incidents actually happened just barely. I had netcode with Toby Ritters, and I just barely got involved with Boyer and Montgomery. I almost got out of it. But honestly, this race means nothing to me. I have not won a single race this season, and pretty much what I need to do is next week we're winning. That's what I gotta do.
Well, you mentioned next week at Las Vegas. You pretty much you might have to go out and win the thing to guarantee yourself the championship with the speed that Matthew Montgomery has showed. So, you already kind of answered my first question as far as the mindset goes, but how do you feel about your chances at Vegas? Is it a track that you really like that you've taken to, or do you feel like this is one you may need to put some work in throughout the week on it?
Well, it's an ARCA car. It's an intermediate. It's gonna be really similar to Charlotte, maybe a little bit similar to Kentucky, maybe a little bit less braking. But the stats show for themselves. Matthew Montgomery has won almost every single intermediate race this year. Now I've been close. I wrecked myself at Kentucky, literally racing with him for the win. No, honestly, what I need to do is I need to practice fuel strategy and hope. I need to trust my gut more as well. What I'm really hoping is next race comes down to a green flag pit stop, and I practice enough this week to finally get him. But like I said, the stats show themselves. Montgomery is the intermediate king. I'm just the consistency king. I haven't won a single race this season. I need to figure out something, and we either need to hope for luck that falls on our side, or we need to hope that we're faster than Montgomery. But tell you what, this is exactly like the perfect outcome. What is this point standing called? It's not called chase. Is it just called
Season long.
what is it called? This is like the perfect outcome of a season long points standing. I mean, even in the last race, that is, as the kids call it, it's absolute cinema. So, you know. But listen, yeah, this is my final iRacing race. After this race on Saturday, I'm going to be just focusing on broadcasting and getting out to New Smyrna Speedway. So, really hoping I can get this Blue Line Automotive 61 Toyota Camry championship in our final ever start. It'll be pretty cool.
I think you answered all the questions I had as well about who you want to thank or who you want to shout out. I'll give you one more shot at it. What do you want to say to the fine people here at VSPEED?
Well, VSPEED, you guys do amazing work. Morgan, I've thanked you so many times. You've been an amazing help to me. You've gotten me into a passion of broadcasting, which I love doing now, and I hope to learn even more in the future. But yeah, no, VSPEED's a great group. I would have never met them if I didn't join this group. So I also have to thank Andy Berry, Jacob Cochran, and NSRLA, because honestly, before I joined this season, I was just really looking to bring my team into a group that has a good broadcasting system, good admins, and just good racing. And this has been the season I've wanted. Now we just got to finish it off. Also, of course, I have to thank, like I said, my sponsors, Blue Line Automotive. I want to thank Dustin Higdon, who's helping me get this race car in a few weeks for New Smyrna Speedway. I want to thank Bandit Graphics, Monica Zero Designs. Want to thank my my late grandfather who just passed away. He watched all my races. I was really hoping I could get a win for him. He really wanted to see me win, but he's watching up from up above, and I know honestly a sim doesn't really mean much to me. He'll be watching me at the Speedway too when I'm out at New Smyrna. But yeah, like I said, thank you to all the supporters of R2R. We've gone a long way this season, and hopefully we can finish it off next week at Las Vegas.
All right, that's your second place finisher tonight, Zechariah Cartledge. And then there was one. And that one, Matthew Montgomery. Morgan and Daniel up in the booth. Also, mute the stream for us, please.
Oh, do I have it on?
Oh, yes. I can hear myself.
Oh, I don't have anything playing right now. Unless I've got... I don't know.
Anyway, I think we'll be okay.
That'll work.
Congratulations, Matthew. Oh, I definitely hear myself. But tell me about it.
I mean, I hate winning races that way, but I mean, I got wrecked 3-4 times tonight, just getting absolutely ran over. And so I didn't have any other choice but to play strategy, just keep the tank full in case it went green. And you know, to everybody's credit, the last run there went green and it was really good. But I mean, I got ran over not even 10 laps into the race, and then got slammed into again when I was just pedaling around, just trying to keep stay on the track. So frustrating all around. Like I said, I got lucky with the strat working out and staying green, and I think Philip had a really good chance to catch me if he didn't get loose. And if he would have caught me, I wasn't going to fight him really hard for it. He dominated it, and I think in all regards he deserved it tonight. Lead as many laps as he did, generating the lead that he did. Like I said, the strategy just happened to play out in my favor. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't anything special I did besides just had a full tank. I mean, yeah, but just getting stuck behind slower cars, getting ran over. It was frustrating all night. But glad to get a win.
Well, really awesome recovery. You mentioned the incidents that you were involved in. On that first one that you on the broadcast, we were able to see that the entire nose fell off the car, and then it kind of popped back on iRacing, doing iRacing things from time to time. But we saw that you were trying to preserve that fast repair, keep it for a little bit later, and you ended up going a lap down. What was your mindset once you went a lap down to just try to keep yourself in it? Because I know it had to be frustrating you that you were in that position, but just being able to get back up there. Just talk about your mindset with that.
Yeah, I mean the initial plan, like I said, when I came down pit road, and it was like 7.5 minutes of damage, and I knew with the small as this track was, it wasn't going to get fixed. And so I got as much done as I could and decided to hold off on the fast repair, just thinking we might get, another wreck on the restart, and then just kind of give me time to save it. And then because there's been a couple times this year where I get caught up in stuff early, running up front, use the fast repair, and then get absolutely murdered, and then I'm stuck driving a wrecked race car the rest of the way. It just kills my finishes. So in my head, I was like, I want to save the fast repair, but my luck. The caution doesn't fly for 50, 60 laps, and I'm out there driving a car with, absolutely zero turn in it. And so that wasn't, obviously part of the plan. The caution comes out, saves me. I decided to go ahead and use the fast repair. And I don't know if you guys saw whenever Toby got spun, I came within inches of ruining my race again. Like I said, as soon as the lap after I get my fast repair, he's in my lap, sideways in the middle of whatever turn it was. I don't know who got into him, but thankfully I missed him. I don't know if you guys have that replay, but if you go back and you look at, so very much was going to be the same situation where I went ahead, got my fast repair, and then would have gotten destroyed again. So just making sure I didn't go multiple laps down. I knew, I had pace. I just, it was really hard to pass. And just trying to preserve that fast repair, which, I've never been a big fan of having fast repairs in races, but if it's there, use it, right? So was just trying to do what I could to just manage it, and a win was out of the question for me. I just wanted to hold on, to be close enough going into Vegas to still have a shot at maybe winning the title here. But it worked out. Like I said, I got lucky. It panned out really well. The strat call worked. It surprisingly stayed green for the last 70 or so laps, and I crossed the line with less than 2 laps of fuel and ran out doing a burnout. So unlike the NASCAR where they kind of manufacture some of the drama with the fuel mileage, I was actually running really low. So like I said, it wasn't that was not the strategy coming into the night. I promise you, I did not plan on getting ran over multiple times and then having a dump truck to get around here. But like I said, just was able to kind of monitor the situation, adjust to it, and then hopefully and thankfully it panned out.
Well, really solid run and just an awesome recovery. Great job at keeping yourself in it. Great job on a fantastic season overall, and you're going to be tied going into the next race for the championship at Vegas. So, going to be an awesome show. And before we let you go tonight, Matthew, who you want to thank, any sponsors or shout outs?
I said same sponsor as always, West Texas Pepper Traders. So you can get them at your local HEB or just go to peppertraders.com and get you some. Shout out to also 45 Inc. Their tattoo shop down in Houston, Texas. So if you are in that area, feel like getting tatted up, just reach out to Big Johnny and he'll get you done. Shout out to Team Apollo. So that being myself, Jordan Bridges, Sam Bridges, and Jamil Gills. Always fun racing with them. I know Sam had some technical difficulty tonight, couldn't make it. But regardless, just getting to practice with them, work with them, race with them is a lot of fun. And so we're going to play some 2K after this, and watch some football. So it'll be good. Obviously, shout out to my amazing wife, Morgan. As weird as that sounds, Morgan, I apologize, Mr. Cook. And then obviously you guys for putting on a really, really cool broadcast. Like I said, it looks good every time I go back and look at it. And then shout out to Andy and everybody at NSRLA for putting this on.
All right. Well, that's the man himself, Matthew Montgomery, winner here tonight at IRP. Congratulations once again. And we'll see you next week, racing for championship in Las Vegas.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for the post show here tonight. The echo is gone, thank goodness. Anyway, let's wrap this thing up, Daniel. National Sim Racing League Association ARCA Series. Big shout out, big thank you to all the admins in this series who make this thing possible. Aaron Espy, Jacob Cochran, Matthew Montgomery, Stephen Gill, of course, Andy Berry. and all the other ones. Matthew and Sean Warham, another one as well, who just recently added to the list. So I appreciate everyone for making that possible. The ability to broadcast here for us on VSPEED. Got to shout out Diesel Laptops as well for sponsoring the vast majority of this season. And then for everyone here at VSPEED who makes this thing possible, Adam, Eddie, Bradley, Lucas, Logan, everyone else behind the scenes who makes this thing go around, and of course Daniel, my fantastic color commentator here this evening. I'd also thank Dougie Beard for the cameras he's provided us for the season and for the rest of our agreement with him. So big thanks. Some fantastic camera angles that we get to see here on a Racely show. Also want to, if you haven't already, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification icon so you don't miss a moment of that racing action. And next week, Daniel, championship time in Las Vegas. Any parting words for us?
I'm telling you, this is, I kind of touched on it earlier. It's shaping up to be shades of 2011 between Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart. You've even got the two distinct paths with Matthew Montgomery being the more, going out and winning races versus the consistency of Zechariah Cartledge. We are going to be in for one fantastic finish to this season next weekend.
Absolutely, and I'm excited, and I expect to see every single one of you there next week, 1 week from today, same time, same place, here on VSPEED. It is going to be a fun one, I can almost guarantee it. But yeah, for everyone who makes this thing possible, definitely big appreciations all the way around here. We're going to see you next time here on VSPEED. Stay tuned.